In this video, I'm going to show you how you can select and blend multiple data sources inside Google BigQuery. Many times you may want to cross multiple data sources to get better marketing insights. For example, you can cross Meta ads with Google ads. To do so, you can go inside Google BigQuery, you can import all the information from those sources, create the tables, and then you will have to do a join to cross the information from each of them. That's going to take you a while, and it's a little bit complex. The other way, the fastest way, is doing it using our tool, portermetrics.com. So let's go into it. First, you will have to go to portermetrics.com. Then you click on Try Free. Remember, we give a 14 days unlimited free trial and a free forever plan after it. After you click on Try Free and authenticate your account, you will land on this dashboard. Here, you will have to click on Create. There, you will see our destinations. We can send information to Looker Studio, Google Sheets, and Google BigQuery. In this case, we're going to select Google BigQuery. Then we're going to select our data sources. You can select as many as you want. In this example, we're going to select Meta Ads, Google Analytics 4, and Google Ads. Now I'm going to give a name to this query. In my case, I'm going to go with test query. Okay, now I'm hit on next. Here we are in our dashboard, and these are the three data sources we have selected: Meta Ads, Google Analytics, and Google Ads. We're going to run the process of connecting the accounts for Meta Ads and Google Analytics. Don't worry, the process will be the same for any other data source that you have selected. Let's start. We're going to click on Connect Accounts. Porter will load a little bit and then redirect you to Facebook to log in. You introduce your email and your password. Then you click on Login. Then you click on I'm not a robot. Then you will land to this page. Here you have to click on Continue as Santiago Cardoso in my case. You will see your profile name there. Then you will be asked which pages you want to connect to Porter Metrics. You can either select Activate only the current ones, you can select them all or only one, or you can also select Activate all current and future pages. We recommend you choose this one because whenever you manage a new page, then you won't have to get back to the setup. In this case, we're going to select just one. Then we click on Continue. Afterwards, you're going to see all the Meta Ads accounts associated to your profile. You can either activate all current and future pages or only the current pages. In this case, I'm going to activate all current and future pages. Then you will land this page and you click on Save. You will click on Accept. Then you will go back to Porter and you will see the email associated to the profile you just have connected. Then you click on Next. Now inside Porter, you will see the Meta Ad account that you just have connected. In my case, since I connected all the pages, I see all of them. I can pick one of them and then I will see it reflected in the right panel inside this green rectangle. Then I click Save. Now let's do it with Google Analytics. We click on Connect Accounts, you select your email, you click on Continue, you click on Select All, you click on Continue, and now you will see your Google Analytics account, you click on Next, and now inside Porter, you will see all the Google Analytics accounts you have associated to your email. You select one and then click on Save. And that's how you can authorize and connect the accounts from the data sources you selected to go inside Google BigQuery. Let's see how we can authenticate our Google BigQuery account so we can start sending data from our marketing data sources inside Google BigQuery. There are basically two ways that you can start sending information to Google BigQuery. One is via ETL tools like us, Porter Metrics, and the other one is creating a BigQuery service account. I will explain you the difference right now and which one I think is better for you, especially if you want to do this fast. If you want to go fast, you should go with Porter, an ETL tool, because you can authenticate your Google BigQuery account just by logging. You don't need to manage the credentials, and just in few clicks, you will be able to start sending information inside Google BigQuery. The other way is creating a BigQuery service account. To do so, you need to create the service account inside Google BigQuery and you need to manage JSON keys manually so you can start sending information. Now that we have already selected our accounts, we're going to click on Next and we're going to create a new query. As soon as you get here, you're going to see data sources and you're going to see the data sources you have selected in the previous step. Now you're going to click on the drop down here in the BigQuery row and there you're going to see Choose Account. If you click on the drop down, you're going to see all the accounts that we have connected before. Since in this video, I'm going to show you how you can authenticate a new Google BigQuery account, we're going to click on Add Account. We are there and we're going to click on Add a new Google account. You're going to have to select the account you want to connect. In this case, is santiago.portermetrics.com. I click on Next, I click on Continue, I click on Allow, and then as soon as I do that, I will have a new Google Cloud account inside Porter. I click on Next, and now if I click on the drop down again of Choose Account, I will see Santiago Cardoso. That is my Google Cloud account. I click on it, and then I will have to select my project ID, my dataset, and my table name. Let me show you my Google Cloud account so it's more visible to you. Now I am here in my Google Cloud account. Remember that the way Google Cloud works is that there's an organization, and inside that organization, there will be projects, as many projects as you want. So in a previous session, I created a project called Marketing Data Test Project. That's the one we are in right now. But if I click on it, then you will see my organization, in this case, Porter Metrics, and my projects. I have two projects. The first one that is my first project and another one called Marketing Data Test Project. That's why when we are in Porter, when you click on the drop down of Project ID, you see Marketing Data Test Project and my first project. That's because those are the two projects that are inside my Google Cloud account. In this case, I'm going to pick Marketing Data Test Project. Then I'm going to choose my dataset location. Here, you may wonder what's the difference between multi-region. You can also see another dataset location called US East 1 South Carolina. Well, I'm going to teach you right now what that means. The difference between multi-region and single-region dataset locations is that in multi-region, you will have your data spread and replicated across multiple data centers in the region you choose, US or Europe. Instead, in single region, you will have all your data just in one single place. This is important because of this. First, after you create the dataset, you cannot change the location. Second, you cannot join across regions. What this means, let's say you have a dataset in multi-region US and then you have another dataset in a single region, like US Central 1. What will happen is that if you want to cross or join those two tables, then the query will fail because they are not in the same dataset location. And finally, this is important because dataset location affects cost and latency. Depending on where you're going to execute your queries, you should pick the closest dataset location. So that way you have faster queries and also lower transfer cost. I give you an example. Let's say you are in San Francisco and you pick a dataset in Sao Paulo. That's really far. So since you are doing queries in San Francisco, your queries will be delivered is lower and the transfer cost for sending the data from Sao Paulo to San Francisco will be higher. Also, now that we know the difference between multi-region and single region dataset location, in this case, just because it's an example, I'm going to pick US multi-region. And now I have to give a name to my dataset. If you have already datasets inside your Google BigQuery account, then you should see a dropdown with the list of datasets that you can pick that are under that project ID. If you don't have any, then you can create it just by typing the name you want for that dataset. In this case, I'm going to call it marketing ads. And now I'm going to create my new table that is going to be inside my marketing ads dataset. In this case, I'm going to call it ads GA4. And this is how you select your project ID, dataset, and create your table name for this new query that we're creating and we're going to send into Google BigQuery. How you can select metrics and dimensions inside Google BigQuery using our tool, Porter Metrics. Before going into our dashboard, I want to share with you what are the benefits of using Porter to select the metrics and dimensions you want to send to Google BigQuery against doing it by yourself using SQL natively inside Google BigQuery. Whenever you have more than one data source communicating information to Google BigQuery, if you use Porter, you don't have to worry about the custom calculations and custom dimensions that you may want to get from that cross. Because we manage the join, so we will take care of crossing correctly the information from Meta Ads and Google Ads or whatever data sources you want to cross. And also, we already have pre-calculated metrics and pre-calculated dimensions. You just have to go into our dashboard and pick which ones do you need. That saves you a lot of time. Instead, if you do it using SQL natively inside Google BigQuery, you will have to write something similar to the black box you are seeing there. That is a SQL query. You will have to manage the join between the two tables and manage the calculation for each metric and each custom dimension you want to create. Now that you know that, we're going to go to our dashboard and select some metrics and dimensions so you can see how it works. We are now in our dashboard and we already selected our project ID, our dataset location, our dataset, and our table name. Now we're going to click on the metrics row. You're going to see a blank space with a plus at the right. If you click on it, you will see a search bar, a list of blended metrics that are pre-calculated by us, and also you can search for any unique metric of any data source that you have connected. In this case, I'm going to pick the blended ad spend metric, and I'm going to search for another metric. In this case, it's going to be GA4 conversions. If I click on create metric, a new window will appear, and I will be able to prompt a formula in natural language. I can just type, for example, divide blend ad spend in GA4 conversion, and as soon as I click on this arrow, then the AI will do the formula based on the prompt that I just provided. Now I can name this metric. In this case, I will name it CPA. And I click on create. Now, if I click on dimensions, I will have the same structure as metrics. And if I click on the plus button, I will see blended dimensions pre-calculated by us, or I can search for any other dimension that is unique to the data sources that I'm adding. In this case, I'm going to pick date. Notice that in the right panel, as you go adding new metrics and new dimensions, the table will change. And this is the table that we will be sending to Google BigQuery. Now, let's do a different example with a custom dimension. For this example of a custom dimension, we are going to create a new table. It will remain in the same dataset, marketing ads, but the table name will change. In this case, is meta_ads_Google Ads. Now, I'm going to add some different metrics. I'm going to go with Meta Ads clicks, Google Ads clicks. I'm going to look for blended clicks. Then I'm going to look for blended conversions. And I'm going to add a final one that is blended ad spend. Remember that in the right panel, you will always see a preview of the table that we are going to ingest into Google BigQuery. So far, right now, we only have metrics. I'm going to close this metrics tab. And now I'm going to go to dimensions. I'm going to add date. I'm also going to add blended data source type. I'm also going to add blended country. And now I'm going to create a dimension. In this window with natural language, I can prompt the AI to help me with the formula for the custom dimension I'm creating. In this case, I'm going to say, if blended country is Mexico, call it LATAM. If it is Canada or United States, call it NAM. And any other country, call it other. If I click on the arrow, now in the formula box, you can see that the formula has been created, so I can label all of these countries right away. Now I will name this new custom dimension, and I will hit on create. Now you can see that in the left panel, in the preview of the table, there is a new column called region, and is labeling all of my countries. Canada as NAM, Mexico as LATAM, and United States as NAM. And this is how you can select or create metrics and dimensions using our tool. So afterwards, you can send all of this data right into Google BigQuery. When you click on the day range row, by default, you're going to see that the period is last 7 days. However, if you click on it, you can see we can have many more date ranges. You can have last 14 days, last 30 days, this month, last month, this year. You can have custom date ranges if you have a specific starting date and a specific ending date you want to check. Now let's create a filter. Before that, let's take a look to the table preview we have in the right. You can see that we have a column called region, and this column is labeling each country depending on the region. So Mexico is LATAM, Canada is NAM, United States is NAM. We're going to create a filter to exclude Canada and United States. So what we're going to do is that we're going to hit on filter, then we're going to click the plus button, and now we have these boxes. We're going to click on select condition. Since we are going to exclude Canada and United States from the table, we are going to select exclude. Then we're going to select the field to which we want the filter to apply. When you click on it, you will see a drop down with all the columns inside the table preview. In this case, we're going to select region. We're going to select the operator. In this case is equals, and we're going to type the region that we want to exclude. In this case is NAM. If you click on select connector, you're going to be able to choose an AND operator or an OR operator to refine the filter that you want to do. In this case, we're not going to do that. We're just going to refresh our table. And now you can see that we don't have any more United States and Canada because we exclude them with our filter. Now we are going to sort this table. Sorting is useful when you want to organize your data in an ascending or descending order based on a specific field. In this case, we're going to do it with the date. So I'm going to click on sort, click on select field. You're going to see a drop down with all the fields that are in the table preview. I'm going to select date, then I'm going to click on descending, and I'm going to refresh my table preview. Now you see that the table is organized going from the most recent date to the oldest. This is one of the tables we are creating. We're going to click on schedule, and here you can write at what time do you want that table to be refreshed or backfilled again. In this case, I typed every day at 6 a.m. I click on the arrow, and now it appears a chip next to the arrow that says at 6 a.m. America, Bogota. You can be as specific as you want, and this is how you can schedule the backfills of the table we will be sending to Google BigQuery. In this video, we're going to learn the right modes we can have for the table we are creating inside Porter Metrics and that we are going to send to Google BigQuery. This is the final step before we can send our table to the Google BigQuery ecosystem. So let's take a look at the 3 right modes. When it comes to how your data is written to your tables, you can have 3 options. The first one is Append. In this mode, you will always add new rows to the table you have created previously. The second mode is Update. In this case, we will go into the table, we will check for the dimensions, and if any of them matches, we will only update the metrics corresponding to that dimensions. And the final one is Override. This is the easiest one, and this one we just replace the whole data. Let's see an example for each mode. Here we have an example of the Append mode. In the left, we have the initial table you created and only has 3 rows. Remember that in the Append mode, we always add a new rows to the table. So here in the left, now we have 2 more rows for January 3, and each of them is matching with the campaign. Something that you have to consider when using the Append mode is that there may be duplicated rows if the dimensions are not unique. So use this right mode whenever you are sure that there won't be duplicates, or if there are, you don't mind about them. The second mode is Update. We are only going to be updating the metrics of the rows that matches with the dimensions. So let's take a look to the left table, the initial table. We have, same as before, date, campaign, spend, clicks. And for each row, we have an spend amount and a number of clicks. Now let's take a look at the right table. It's the one that happened after the update. And you can see that highlighted is the row that we changed, the first one. And the reason why I changed it is because the dimension date and the dimension campaign is the same, but the metrics, the spend and clicks, changed. So the spend went from $500 to $550, and the clicks went from 1,200 to 1,280. So that's why we only updated that row. And now we're going to see the override mode. In this case, we are kind of destroying the previous table and creating a new one from zero, from scratch. So here we have in the left the previous table. You can see that it had 3 rows. And now after the override, it changes completely. And now we have a new table only with 2 rows with different dates. That's how override will work. Now let's go back to Porter Metrics and end the process selecting the right mode we have for the tables we are creating. Awesome, we are back, and for this query, now I'm gonna select the override mode. After that, I just need to click the play button at the top of the left panel next to the name of the table we are creating. And as soon as you do that, then you will receive a message telling you that the process was successful. Now let's go into Google BigQuery and check if the table was actually created. Before going into Google BigQuery to check if the table we just created inside Porter Metrics was actually sent to Google BigQuery, I want you to remember the settings that we applied to this table when we were choosing the Google Cloud account to where we were going to send the table. So I just got back here in our demo. Remember, we click on BigQuery, and please take a look on the project ID that this moment is marketing data test project, the dataset that at this moment is marketing ads, and remember, we named this table as meta_ads_Google Ads. So this is the roadmap that we are going to follow in Google BigQuery. We're going to enter to Santiago Cardoso Google Cloud account. We're going to check for the project ID marketing data test project that will contain a dataset that is called marketing ads. And this dataset marketing ads will contain a new table called meta_ads_Google Ads. So let's go into it and let's check it out. If you want to see this step in more detail, you can go and click in the top right corner and see the video we created around this specific topic. Now let's go to Google BigQuery. We are now inside my Google Cloud account. And remember, the first thing we're going to check is the project ID. Remember, the table we created is inside the project ID marketing data test project. So we are correct. The little purple dot is highlighting the project we are in inside Google BigQuery. In this case, marketing data test project. So now we are going to check the datasets inside this project. If I click on datasets, now you will see in the right a table with the dataset IDs I have inside the marketing data test project. In this case, I have marketing_ads and test_datasets. Remember, the table is inside the marketing_ads dataset. So now we're going to click on marketing ads. After I click on it, now I will have access to all the tables that are inside the dataset marketing_ads. In this case, meta_ads_google_ads. That is the table we just created in Porter, and now it's available for us inside Google BigQuery. If we click on it, the first thing we're going to see is the table schema. I highlighted the table schema with the purple square. You can see that it's a column that it says field name. Those field names are the columns inside the table. Then you will see a column that is called type. That is the type of the values that are inside of each column. For example, in the date column, all the values inside of it should have a date format. For the amount spent, all the values should be float. And for country, all the values should be a string. And finally, you have a third column called mode. That in this case, for all of them, it says nullable. What this means is that a value inside of that column can be null, that means empty, or have a value. Now, if you click on preview, you will have a preview of the table we just have created in Porter, and now it's available in Google BigQuery. You have the date column, the clicks, the amount spent, conversions, the country. Remember that we did a filter on country, excluding any country that was not Mexico. We have a region and the other fields that we selected in Porter Metrics. Now that you have this table inside Google BigQuery, you can run SQL queries, or you can connect this table to Looker Studio so your dashboard loads in light speed. And this is how you can send and monitor all the tables that you are creating inside Porter and that you're going to be sending to Google BigQuery.